People are growing increasingly desperate for food, water and medical supplies in typhoon-hit parts of the Philippines, a congressman has warned. Martin Romualdez, from badly hit Leyte, said a greater sense of urgency was needed to get aid to those in need. The UN says more than 11 million people may have been affected and some 673,000 displaced by Typhoon Haiyan. On Tuesday, 8 people died when a wall collapsed as thousands of survivors mobbed the food warehouse. Police and soldiers were unable to stop the looters, who took more than 100,000 sacks of rice from the government facility in Alangalang, Leyte, said Rex Esta Perez, spokesman for the National Food Authority. Speaking to CNN on Tuesday, Philippine President Benigno Aquino said the death toll may be lower than first thought. The widely reported figure of 10,000 killed may have come from officials facing emotional trauma, he said, and the real figure was more likely up to 2,500. But he said 29 municipalities had yet to be contacted to establish the number of victims there. The president also warned that storms like Haiyan, known in the Philippines as Yolanda, were becoming more frequent, and there should be no debate that climate change was happening. He said either the world committed to action on climate change or let us be prepared to meet disasters. Typhoon Haiyan, one of the most powerful storms ever recorded on land, hit the coastal provinces of Leyte and Samar on Friday. It swept through 6 central Philippine islands before going on to kill several people in Vietnam and southern China. Philippines disaster management officials have put the confirmed death toll at 2,275, with another 3,665 injured. More than 80 people are listed as missing. But Martin Romualdez told the BBC he believed the government was giving conservative estimates of the death toll so as not to cause undue alarm. Just viewing the disaster scope, its magnitude and the areas affected, we believe that the 10,000 figure is more probable, he said. As we start cleaning up we are finding more bodies. Massive destruction. He said the sense of urgency should be stepped up at the national level as the international relief organizations come in. Better coordination is needed, because we are seeing a lot of relief goods, medicines, equipment, coming in, but it's not reaching the people affected, thereby causing a sense of hopelessness and desperation in many of those who have survived and are now fleeing their homes, their municipalities, their locales, out of sheer desperation. He said the damage to Tacloban was so massive in scale and so extensive in our areas that we literally would have to rebuild from scratch. We just imagine it, our area, as a ground zero, as if a nuclear bomb had exploded above us. Relief operations are being stepped up, but damage to transport links and continuing bad weather have hindered aid distribution. The BBC's Jonathan Head in Tacloban, a city of 220,000 on Leyte Island which is particularly badly affected, says residents are becoming angry at the lack of progress and increasing breakdown in security. Planes are arriving at the airport, but bringing little in and only taking people out, and there is little sign of a coordinated relief operation, he says. Philippine Armed Forces spokesman Ramon Zagala told the BBC teams were struggling to reach isolated places. Although we have a lot of helicopters at the moment, it's really a challenge for us to bring aid to all the places and bring the number of goods that are needed. But Philippine Interior Minister Marroquez told the BBC that relief efforts were on track. Our first priorities were, number 1, to establish law and order, number 2, to bring food and water to the people, and, number 3, to recover the cadaver bags, he said. Now, law and order has been stabilized. The supply of food and water is beginning. I'm not saying that we're anywhere near it, but it is beginning to be stabilized. And now we are concentrating on recovery of cadavers as well as on the distribution of the food and the relief that is coming in. On Tuesday the UN launched an appeal for $301 million, £190 million, to help survivors. It has already released $25 million to meet immediate needs. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, says 11.3 million people are in need of vital goods and services, because of factors such as lack of food, healthcare and access to education and livelihoods. The UK's Disasters Emergency Committee, DEC, has also launched an appeal. US and British Navy vessels are heading to the Philippines and several nations have pledged millions of dollars in aid.